Welcome back to another great episode of your favorite podcast, Deac2Deac. In this episode, I had a chance to sit down with legendary coach and athletic director Bill Hayes. Coach Hayes has a strong connection to Wake Forest because he was one of the first coaches in the Atlantic Coast Conference with the Wake Forest football team in 1973. Coach Hayes also shares the story of his coaching journey, his success as an athletic director, and much, much more. Stay tuned and go Deacs. So, Coach Hayes, let's start from the very beginning. So, where are you originally from, and what was it like growing up there?
Well, I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I was actually born in Duke Hospital back in 1943, so I'm 78 years old. One of five children, mom and dad, hardworking people, worked in the tobacco factory. And my dad was worked in the Elks Lodge in Durham, North Carolina. Actually, he was everything. He was the janitor, he was the manager, he was the bartender, he ran the whole club. And for years, for 39 years, my dad worked two jobs. I guess that's kind of where I got my work ethic from. Um, a tremendous guy, extremely smart, hardworking, didn't have very much formal education, but a hell of a lot smarter than most people I know.
Well, Coach, how did you get into sports?
Well, uh, like most kids, I wanted to play sports. When I was a little kid, I had polio. Back then, it
Okay.
was kind of like this virus is right now. Polio was an epidemic back in the 50s, and I caught it. And so I stayed in the hospital, at Duke Hospital, for a good bit. And then, of course, when they brought me home, I had a big quarantine sign on my house. I mean, a huge sign on my house, like stay away, nobody couldn't come. Only person would come near me was my mama and my little brother, Richard, who's deceased now. But I had polio, laid in the bed for months, seems like. And I used to lay there and the basketball court in the neighborhood, I could see out of my window as I lay there. And I'm just talking to God. God, please, one day, let me get out there. Let me walk. Let me get out there. I want to play basketball. I want to be out there with the other guys. And I promise you, if you let me walk, I'm gonna run. If you run, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna be real damn good if you make you proud. If you just give me a chance to get out of this bed. And I said that prayer to myself for a lot of days as I lay there watching guys play. I was in the second grade when all this happened. I got behind in school, but I was smart because when they were doing phonics and all that kind of stuff, I was sick. Then in the third grade, I got sick again with something called jaundice. So I was a real sickly kid, skinny, smallest size in the class, but kind of tall. And got to the sixth grade, I met a guy named Charlie Roach. He was played with the Durham Bulls baseball team back then, and he was my sixth grade teacher and a full-time teacher, part-time baseball player. And he got me interested in sports. And I think that kind of turned it around for me because really my fourth grade teacher was a music guy. And he had me thinking I was going to be an opera singer. Can you imagine that? And I believed him. I mean, I was singing opera in the little class choir. I've got a soprano voice.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you telling me
I'm
Deacon Nation,
telling
that legendary Coach Hayes started as like you really had a shot at singing opera?
you, he had me thinking I could do that. And you know how it is. I'm impressionable in the fourth grade, and the teacher
Yeah.
kind of take a liking to you and tell you can do something well. And I thought I was doing. I listened to Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, Schubert, all those composers. We were into that, man, big time.
Wow. I
Yeah,
never knew that about you.
after Charlie Roach got me interested in sports, I mean, I really got at it, football and basketball, and especially football in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But basketball in the junior high school, and my little community had a football team. back then it was segregation, so we would go over in Forest Hills in Durham, that's kind of, that was all white, elite, aristocratic folk living over there. And we living over there on the other side of the tracks, as best we could. And we go there and play football on Sunday till the police came and ran us away. But that was some fun times. So we had a great time over there. And so that's kind of where my upbringing was, school, walking back and forth to W.G. Person Elementary and Whittier Junior High, and trying to make those athletic teams, and, trying to be the best that I could be. And really, it was hard because, we had a real small house. We were poor. We didn't know it, but we were poor. And just trying. And one day, this kid took me home with him. His name was Warner Doon, Butch. Butch, his mama was a teacher, and his daddy owned his own business. And he took me home with him, and I could not believe that he had his own bed. Wow. He had his own room. Everything was spaced out. Plenty of space. A dining room. We just got a kitchen out there where I'm staying at. Dining room. What's that? You dine in the kitchen. But it was amazing. He had his own. They had garage. 2 cars out there. We barely had a car. In fact, it was a while before we got a car. And I began to dream. When I saw that, never seen it before. When I saw what he had and the way they lived, I wanted to live like that. Didn't take no rocket science. So I really went hard. And, it was kind of 2 systems back then. It was a system for the rich Black kids and the poor Black kids. Then you had you had the black issue, then you had the black-white issue. So we had all kind of issues, not just black and white. And so my teacher told me, and the guidance counselor told me in the 10th grade, I took my schedule to her, and I wanted to take geometry and algebra and all that because I had a dream. And she told me, she said, don't you live over there on Johnson Street? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, well, why you want to take these courses? Kids from over there where you stay at, they don't go to nobody's college. Mm. She said, I'll tell you what you do. You go down to see Mr. Cincinnati. I will never forget that. And you take auto mechanics. Mm. And you take brick shop. Learn how to lay brick. So that's where she sent me. So consequently, I stayed down there 2 years in the shop. And I just took English and general math, just basic courses, because she got me geared to be a laborer, auto mechanic, a bricklayer. Then coaches started taking an interest in me. Because, see, I won the state championship in the discus shot put in the 10th grade. I was state champion in 10th grade. And then 11th, and then I did one in the 11th grade again, and then I won the discus shot put and the high jump in the 12th grade, state champion. And I was all-state football player, and I was in the Shrine Bowl game and all that stuff. But I really didn't have a college-bound curriculum. Although I had good grades, I didn't have good classes, and that wasn't my fault. So when I got to college, I struggled like mad. I struggled because I hadn't had those courses. And coach called me in, and he said, see, I started middle linebacker as a rookie. Late in the season, they put me in there. And once I got in there, I wasn't coming out. So I started at center and middle linebacker and made plays and running all over the place. And the coach called me. He said, I'm going to have to send you on back home at the end of the second semester if you don't improve. I'm saying, well, what? What are you telling me? So I didn't make good grades. Mm-hmm. And so I was so aggressive until coach would take all us to the library to study. And I'm supposed to be, there's people all around me and I'm trying to concentrate. I can't concentrate like that. And then every now and then, as soon as I get halfway into the book, then a pretty girl would walk down the aisle, like that, my head flopping there over there. So okay, what I mean? So I found a quiet place. I had to have somewhere where I could not be distracted. So I went in the janitor's broom closet, set up me a little desk in the broom closet, got me a little lamp, and every day after lunch, I would go in that broom closet, quiet as a mice in there, and I stay in an hour and a half religiously every day. All I needed was some structure, and I gave myself structure, and I ended up making honor roll from then on out. I made the honor roll.
Wow.
Yeah, I had some of the toughest professors at the university at North Carolina Central, and I did extremely well because I got focused.
Yeah.
I had never had to focus, and when I was home and at my house, I remember when Coach took us in the dorm when I went on my recruitment visit. He said, my teammate, another linebacker, was Sammy Durham. He said, "Sammy, that's your bed right there." And then he looked at me and he said, "Bill, that's your bed right there." I said, "By myself, Coach? You mean I got a bed by?" That's the first time I had a bed by myself. And you, in no way that you all were going to beat us. You were not going to cause my coach any harm or hurt. Because for the first time, I got a meal card. I got three meals a day. I got a snack, and I got my own bed, and I got peace and quiet with no confusion. Man, you talking about trying to beat us? Are you crazy? You got to be. So we ended up winning championships, and I made All-American 3 times at college, and a pretty good player. I wish I'd been on, times wasn't right, but I played linebacker at the same time, Leroy Jordan. You don't remember that, you're too young. But anyway, I didn't get a chance to play pro football because I really wasn't big. I wasn't a 210, 215, about 6'2", playing middle linebacker and center. And, you had to be Jesus Christ himself at that size to make the NFL back in my time. So I went into coaching.
So how did you get that path into coaching? Was there another coach that kind of guided you into it, or was it just a decision that you made because you wanted to?
No, a principal came down from a little town in Gretna, Virginia, and talked to me at school. He saw me play. Mm-hmm. He saw me playing a football game, and he told me he wanted me to come up there and coach it, be an assistant coach at his school. And I went up there and we won 3 championships that year. We won football, basketball, and baseball championship. I was coaching everything. And it was a lot of fun, but it was my first year out of school. I didn't have no car. I was walking back and forth to school, thumbing rides. It was rough. But I made it through. In the second year, that summer, I went back home with my mother in Durham and Dad, and I'm sitting on the front porch with my mom one day, and his car pulls up, and this guy gets out. His name was William Bryant. He's from Winston-Salem. And Mr. Bryant came up. He introduced himself. He said, "Bill," he said, "I saw you play at Central against A&T." And he said, "The energy that you played with, I want you on my coaching staff." He said, "Would you consider coming to Winston-Salem to coach at Paisley High School?" I said, "Sure, I sure will." Because I really didn't want to go back to that little country town I was in up in Gretna. Didn't have to wear stuff like that. And a lot of my teammates at Central was from Winston-Salem.
Okay.
And so I had gone with them homes on the weekend some, and I felt like I knew a little bit about it. So I came to Paisley High School and coached with a guy named Otis Hawkins. He was the basketball coach, and Coach Bryant was the head football coach. And so we won the football championship at Paisley, and then we won the basketball. Coach Hawk won the basketball championship, and we were doing really well. And then they decided one day, they said, "Look, we're going to close the school. Integration time." So they split us up into 3 groups of coaches. One sent one to R.J. Reynolds High School, and they sent me to North Forsyth, and they sent another coach up to Atkins, over to Atkins, 300 kids apiece. That's kind of the way it went. And so I went to North, and, nobody was ready for integration in the 60s. Nobody. We wasn't ready to go, and where we were going, what didn't want us there. It was kind of like that. And it was rough. We had a riot. Kids fighting kids in the hallway and apart. I mean, I got a great relationship with all the kids. Black kids, white kids. They were good football players. They were my team. That was my team, and it really didn't matter to me. I coached men, not skiing. That's what I used to tell them. I don't coach skin. I coach men. I'm a man maker.
well, Coach, that kind of you proved that during that turbulent times where people were struggling to come together. You brought that team together enough to. How many state championships did you guys win at North?
We won one state championship at North Side in 1971. Yeah. We built that team up and overcame a lot of adversity on the field and off the field. And Colin Nafong hired me. He hired me. Actually, he didn't hire me. I was put on his coaching staff by the school system. And after I was on there for a year, I wanted to be in charge. I wanted to run the defense. So I started like in January, during the defensive playbook for the football team. And I worked on that playbook from December all the way up to July. Every day I did work on that playbook. So I never forget, I called Colin Nafong, who was the head coach. I said, Coach, I want to come by your house to talk to you. He said, okay, Bill, come on by Sunday afternoon. I go by and I hand him this playbook. He got the playbook, he looked at it. He said, what is this? Where'd you get this? I said, that's my playbook, Coach. I said, I've been working on it since December. He looked at it, he said, you did this? I said, yeah, I did that. I did every word. I drew every circle. I made every design. And he looked, he says, I said, Coach, what I'm trying to tell you is I want to be your defensive coordinator. I said, I just don't want to be the D-line coach and linebacker. I want to be the coordinator. And so he said, well, let me think about it. And he made me, a few days went by, he made me the defensive coordinator. We went, in that championship year, we scored 35 points on defense in 7 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of turnovers. It's a lot of turnovers.
We were doing it. It was fun, a lot of fun. Then, of course, a lady named Mary Garber, you wouldn't know her, you're too young, but Mary Garber was a great reporter, a pioneer, a women's pioneer in sports reporting. She told Coach Mills at Wake Forest, you need to hire that guy. That guy's something special. And so Coach called me up and we got together and he gave me a job at Wake Forest on his coaching staff.
Now, you talk about integration and during that time and getting that call from Coach Mills. Did you expect to get that call? Did you see it coming at that point in your coaching career? Because you talked about integration. We're talking about the early 70s, where there were still some issues with the integration going on. So what was it like to get that call?
Well, I was wanting to go back to my high school in Durham to be the head football coach. But John Lucas, you would know John Lucas, the great basketball player. His daddy was my principal.
Okay.
And he told me he was gonna hire me. He called me down, boom. I had the job and everything before I went to Wake Forest. And he says, but now, if you don't win at least 10 games, I'm gonna fire you. I'm saying, wait a minute. Is this you just won 3 games last year and you won 2 games the year before? Now you're gonna hire me and I got to win 10 games, this you gonna fire me? I really thought I could win 12. I really did. That's how confident I was in my ability. I thought I could win them all.
Yeah.
But I didn't want him to tell me that. I didn't think he had the right to say that to me. So that's when I decided, when Coach Mills asked me, gave me an opportunity to go to Wake Forest and be the first Black coach in Atlanta. Really, the first Black coach coaching a position. See, there may have been some other coaches east of the Mississippi, but they were Black guys who recruited. They didn't coach a position. I used to go to the coaching convention. The coaching convention moves all of Dallas and LA and Miami, different places. It moves every year to Tennessee. I go to coaching convention and guys look and say, hey man, that guy coaches a position. That was deep, wasn't it? See, they were just recruiting. I coached the position and recruited. And so which made me a little bit different from most guys like me during that period.
What was it like to carry that weight? Because you're talking about a major conference, you're talking about a sport that just culturally is a part, it's just ingrained in the fabric. How did you carry that weight of being the first?
Yeah, I acted like I belong there.
Mm,
You know, I think if you walk around acting like I'm the first, so then I got to be, no, I belong here. When Coach sent me down to Alabama, sent me down to Mississippi, the scout, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State with all those cowbells, and I went all over the Deep South as a pioneer. I was the first guy to come in to those stadiums of color, and people would look at me and just say, "What in the hell is he doing up in here?" And the crazy part about it was, you know, the cooking staff and all the waiters in the stadium, and man, they saw and look, they said, "Whoa, here's a black man in here doing this." And so, I mean, I act like I'm supposed to be there. You know,
yeah.
I ain't walk looking at. I'll keep my head straight ahead, doing my job, got my station set up, went down on the field, make sure I timed the snappers, I timed the height of that punt, and how long the hang time, get all that information, go up there, get my stuff ready, and I'm gonna scout this game, period. And that's what I did. I never felt like I didn't belong in there. I did belong in there, and I was good at it and knew it. So I wasn't intimidated by none of that.
Now, when you got to Wake, what was the reception like from the players and the team?
Great,
Yeah.
great. From the coaches, players, great. People over in the cafeteria. I had a couple of sisters over that took care of me in the cafeteria. I mean, I was ready to do that kind of job mentally,
Yeah.
and and my confidence level was sky high because I believed that I could get the job done. I believed that I could recruit the best kids. I believed that I could coach with anybody and outcoach most of them. I believe that. And if I didn't have the opportunity, it wasn't because I couldn't do it, it's because they didn't give me the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So you and I talked before, and you talked about it. You mentioned the story of where you had to go speak in Raleigh. They wanted to hear from the head coach, and he sent you instead. Kind of share that story of what
I was
happened.
lucky. I was lucky to be with Chuck Mills. See, Chuck Mills was a Westerner, a Utah guy, a California guy, and his wife Barbara was great. They ain't know nothing about the mores and the folkways and the way people in the Deep South live. They had no clue about segregation, none. I never forget, we were on a coaching meeting one day, and one of the coaches told Coach Mills, he said, Coach, there's some great kids down in southeastern part of North Carolina, in that down near Maxton and Lawrenceburg and all
Yep.
down through there. That wasn't my area. See, I had the northern part of North Carolina and all of Virginia. Coach Mills said, "Whoa, wait a minute. I thought I assigned you that area." He said, "Let me tell you something. If there are black kids, white kids, Indian, Native American kids,
you don't have any items set up in the Find My app.
Whatever is down in that area, you make sure that you get it, because Bill's going to recruit his area. I'm not sending him on no mission to recruit black kids. So I can recruit any kind of kids in my area." I was very lucky, because I had that kind of support from the head football coach, Chuck Mills. He let me do what everybody else did. He didn't send me on no missions for black folk and missions to recruit black kids. He let me recruit football players, good, solid student athletes, regardless of race. And I thank him for that.
Now, Coach, you've with your time at Wake, you were part of a lot of games and experienced a lot of different things. What do you remember most about that time period, about just your experience coaching at Wake? What would you say would be that high point of your time that you can remember and reflect on?
Wow, I had so many high points. Maybe signing some of the top flight athletes that I signed, and watching them excel was probably the highlight. Watching Clark Gaines, Clark Gaines, that are starting running back. I never forget the story about Clark Gaines. When Clark was from Elise McCray Junior College. He big time running back, and I told Coach Mills, I said, Coach, I don't know whether we want to sign Clark or not. He said, well, why wouldn't we want to sign him, Bill? I said, Coach, I said, he's getting ready to marry Kathy, and she's white, and they want to live in the dorm. He said, well, what's wrong with that? I said, Coach, we're in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I said, you might not know it, but we're in Winston-Salem. It was 1973.
Yeah.
Coach, these folk around here, they ain't ready for that. He said, Bill, let me tell you something. Can you sign Clark Gaines? I said, Coach, I think I can sign him. He said, well, I tell you what, you get up there tomorrow, you sign him. I said, yes, sir. So I go up there and I talked to Clark, and I said, Clark, I got this scholarship here, and we've been going back and forth for a while now. I said, I think it's time for you to go and sign the scholarship so we can get this thing rolling. He said, Coach, he said, I'm ready to sign. He said, I'm bringing Kathy with me. I said, yeah, we got that straight. He said, but I need a trailer on campus, Coach. I said, you need what? He said, we don't want to live in the dorm. He said, I got to have a trailer on campus. I said, Clark, okay. I said, all right, Clark, let me go and work the deal out. I'll be back tomorrow. I go back. I said, Coach, I told you this guy gonna be a problem. I said, we can't sign him. I said, he's gonna bring that girl down there. Plus, he want a trailer on campus. How we gonna do it? He said, Bill, would you sign the kid, please? We'll get him a trailer to go on campus. Why are you holding up production like that? Coach Mills was the real deal. Way ahead of his time. Yeah. Way ahead of his time. So we went on to sign Clark, and he had a great career at Wake Forest.
And that's, well, Coach, I want to ask you, being in the Winston-Salem area, I want to ask you about someone, Coach Big House Gaines.
Oh.
What did he mean to you as a coach and as a person?
Well, you got to understand, Big House was a basketball guy. He was my boss. He was the AD, but he was a basketball coach. And he had the best basketball team in historically Black colleges at one point. Football was terrible at Winston-Salem State. They had never won in football and wasn't expected to. Now, along came Bill Hayes. I'm gonna figure out how to change this from a basketball school to a football school. Now, I love Clarence Gaines, but he ain't love football being better than basketball. So we had two situations. One where we had a great relationship.
Yeah. Until
I needed some more funding. Because that money was going to. So we got in contest about how we were going to, who was going to be the best. Wow. So yeah, it wasn't enough. Really, I love the man. I mean, I supported him and he supported me, but that school wasn't big enough for being him. It wasn't big enough. We filled the stadium up. We had Bowman Gray Stadium filled to the brim. We won 20 straight football games. We were 30-1 in football. After I succeeded a guy who was 1-10, 0-11. That's where it was before I came. And we flipped that thing real fast. And the energy was unbelievable. And the town caught fire. And the fans caught fire. And all this stuff is happening. And Coach is getting in his late 60s, early 70s. But he wasn't ready to go. He wasn't ready to let that thing go. He wasn't ready to so it was kind of like that, I think it was a great amount of respect for coaching me. Tremendous respect. But we both were very competitive. And we both wanted to be the best. And we made so much money.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you recently came to practice at Wake Forest. You checked it out during training camp.
Oh man.
And it was a wonderful experience for me to be there with you. What did you see in coming back that has changed the most? Now, you've been around the game for a long time. What have you seen when you showed up at the practice? What do you see that has changed the most?
Facilities. The setup, the structure was outstanding. Coaching, the technique, the fundamentals, the player, the caliber of football player has really risen since I was there. There was talent all over the place.
Yeah.
And I was impressed. I was impressed with Coach Clausen. The guy's a super football coach. I was totally impressed with him and his staff. And so it's like night and day from when I was there, and we had that one little field over there on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got this football complex. But this mega weight room, indoor practice facilities. They got it all. Now I realize that the Michigans of the world may have, but Wake has everything it needs to be competitive in the ACC and in the country. And they are. And I'm really, really proud of what I'm seeing at Wake Forest football. I am really proud.
Well, Coach, you had an amazing impact just in your time being around the guys at practice. As you and I were talking, and I was sharing with you that you had a chance to address the team. And anybody who's ever been through training camp knows that when that practice is over at training camp, when coach blows the horn, you're trying to get out of there. And so I just want to let Deacon Nation know that those players had so much respect for you. It took us 20 minutes to leave practice because they wanted to connect with you. They wanted to just get some words of wisdom. How does that feel to know that with such a legendary career that you're still just having such an influence even on this current generation of players, even though so much has changed, that they recognize what you bring to the table as a coach and as a leader?
Makes me very, very proud. Proud that I have something to share. Proud of all that I've experienced, I've seen and done. And proud that they would take the time to listen. Take the time to ask me questions. I love to get asked questions. I wait on coaches to ask me, what are you going to do on 3rd and 3, or 3rd and 2 on the goal line? What are you going to do? What's your play? I love that kind of thing because I lived it. And I lived it for 40 years on the football field and another 11 years as an AD. And so I lived that game, and I lived coaching, and I lived athletics, and I lived fundraising in athletics for all those years. And of course, I was never lucky enough to have all that I see at the Wake Forest of the world, facility-wise and financially. But I had the best kids in the world.
Yeah.
They were hard. I recruited some. So I think about Donald Evans. Here's a kid's mama got 18 kids, 5 sets of twins, and I'm gonna make him a champion. And he don't know it, but I'm gonna make him a champion. And I think about, I had a kid, James White. He graduated from Duke Medical School. Kid, I thought the kid couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time back then. You know what I mean? But he ended up being a great running back and a model student. But you would have thought he had no chance. But it's something amazing about when they figure out that I'm gonna keep that pressure on them every day. When you wake up, I'm gonna put that pressure on you to be the best. I'm gonna put that pressure on you to be the best in the classroom. You're gonna be the best in the classroom, and you are not gonna sit in the back of the room. And I'm gonna put that pressure on you to be in the best condition in the world. And we are gonna win the championship. We are not gonna be average, because I always said that if you average, you're the best of the damn worst. If you're
Mm,
average, you're the best of the day. A C is average. And I don't want to deal with average. And I keep pounding that in your head and pounding that in your spirit. Every day you walk in that facility, I'm going to pound that in you, that you are not average. Average don't work for you, especially a Black man in America. You can't be average. You got to be better than everybody. You got to believe that you're better. You got to go hard. You got to be first. You have got to be first. You got to be first at work. You got to be first in class. You got to be first on the field. You got to be first going through the drills. You got to be first at everything you do. And if second is not an option. So that's what I taught. That's who I am. That's what I believe. And that's what I've always believed. And so I don't believe in just doing stuff to get by. Those kind of people irk me. People that just want to do enough to get by. I'm not a get by guy. We got to win a championship. And we got to figure out how to win the championship. To come hell or high water, we got to figure out how to win the championship. And whatever it takes, we got to do it. So that's what that's who I am. That's what I preach. And that's what I drill into everybody around me. Everybody around me has got to feel that way. And once you get everybody feeling that way, some magic's going to happen.
Yeah, I saw it. I could tell when you came back for the game and you came to the football alumni gathering, and just the way that the players you coached, the way that they forced themselves over just to say hello and to share the impact that you had on their lives as a coach, and how they've taken those lessons and it has helped them in their personal life. How does that feel when you're able to be back and you hear, and not just at Wake Forest? I mean, you're talking about you won multiple MEAC championships, CIAA championships. I mean, just to see the players and the coaches that you've had an influence in guiding and leading. How does that feel when you look on that long roster? I mean, because you're talking about governors, business owners. I mean, it doesn't stop. How does that feel?
And the crazy part about it is most of them were not Black. When I was Wake Forest, when I was at Wake, I had what, 2 or 3 Black kids on the O-line the whole time. Most of my kids were white. But like I said earlier, I ain't coaching men. I ain't coaching skin. I'm coaching men. And if you're a man with the right attitude and you want to be first and you want to be the best, then me and you, we're going to roll. We're going to do well together. And it got nothing to do with anything else but your ability to want to excel. And if you want to excel and be the best, then me and you going to get along. If you don't, then me and you have a problem. No. So I'm proud of the guys that I coach. I was down in Florida and I was catching hell at Florida A&M when I was the athletic director, because what I wanted for the athletics program and what a lot of people around me wanted was quite different. So I was a bad guy. I had to change things. I had to change the culture. And so in changing the culture, I made a lot of enemies, and I made them real fast. And one of my Wake Forest running backs was the governor of Florida. He came on campus to speak. And I don't think he knew I was, and he looked over there in the corner and saw me. And he said, "Whoa, is that my coach? Is that Coach Hayes? Coach, what you doing?" He said, "Come here. Listen, everything changed." Everything changed. I had Richard Bird too,
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Sir.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had Richard was the running back on him when I was coaching the running back. So I had some champion guys.
Yeah.
A lot of them who were pure champions. And so, you can't judge me with the way I look on the exterior. It's that big motor I got.
So, Coach, when you look back at just the trails you blaze, the trailblazer, you knocking down ceilings and doors, and you look back and you think, being that first, and you look and you see Tyrone Willingham, who was a head coach in college football, and Coach Jim Caldwell, and who I had the pleasure of playing for. That, do you ever feel when you look back and see the doors that you opened that led to so much to where it is now and continuing progress that we're going to keep making? How does that make you feel knowing that?
You, before I answer that, I used to recruit Tyrone Willingham.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I did
Tyrone
not know
was
that.
a quarterback down at Jacksonville High School in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And I would go down there Friday night, watch Tyrone play. Tried my best to get him to come to Wake Forest. But he was an option quarterback. He wasn't a 5'8".
Yeah.
So when I bring his tape back and show it to the coaching staff, they look at me and they say, Bill, he ain't but 5'8". I'm saying, Coach, the boy can play. He's great.
Yeah.
But he was 5'8".
Yeah.
And we didn't run the wishbone.
Yeah.
You see, so he kind of slipped through the guy. Crap, we probably could have signed him. But he ended up being the coach of Stanford.
And Notre Dame.
Coach at Notre Dame. Never forget the day that Notre Dame hired him, I was at the coaches convention. And when they announced it at noon, and I happened to be walking out there, and Tyrone was having a press conference outside the facility somewhere. I can't remember where in the United States. But anyway, it was a big convention. And Tyrone saw me. And he called me over in the middle of his press conference and put his arms around me and thanked me for pushing him like I did. So I feel great about it. I've been so busy going forward. I ain't had much time to look back. One of these days, I'm gonna have time to sit back and look at what happened back in the 60s and the 70s. But I'm still trying to go forward.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have something bright to look at coming up soon. It was announced that the field at Bowman Gray Stadium where Winston-Salem State University plays, they're going to not only name it after you, but you're going to get a statue. How does that feel to get that type of recognition for what you've done?
Well, I really can't get my arms around it until I see it. I'm trying to visualize what it's going to be like, but I can't. I really can't. And can you imagine looking at yourself from a statue? Yeah, a 12-foot bronze statue of me.
Yeah.
I took probably 1,000 pictures getting ready for this statue. They took the top of my head, and I mean, it was amazing just to take the pictures for them to do the statue. But I can't. I believe it when I see it. It's just so far-fetched in my mind until I never dreamed about anything like that. I just wanted God to give me a chance. You know what I mean? I wanted God to give me a chance to compete. I wanted him to let me have my legs from polio. I wanted him to free me from that disease so I could compete with the other guys and so that I would just have a chance. And if he gave me a chance, I'm going to do the rest. Pride and dedication and loyalty and being first gonna put me in a good spot. That's all I ever asked for, and that's all I've ever wanted.
Now, Coach, you're retired, but you're still just as active as ever. What are some of the things you're active in? I know at the game we recognized the Winston-Salem Sportsman's Club. Kind of talk about that and some of the things you're doing in the community.
The sports. I got involved with the Sportsman's Club. See, when I retired, it was a shock to who I am. I mean, my phone wasn't ringing anymore. Mm-hmm. I wasn't getting no texts anymore. Wasn't nobody asking me to do something. And it was unbelievable. So I started getting involved with things. I got involved with the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame. I'm the fundraising chair. I got involved with the Black College Hall of Fame in Atlanta. I got involved with, I do about 10 halls of fame. And so I'm involved with all of them in fundraising aspects and recruiting and setting up stuff. Out in Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I got a bus out there, man.
That's what I was going to say, Coach. You're not just working with these groups. You're a part of these Hall of Fames.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
I just want to put that out there to everyone. He's not just working, volunteering. He is also inducted in these various Hall of Fame.
And one thing that I'm enjoying lately is the Novant Community Board trying to uplift the quality of healthcare in East Winston. You know, Novant has this awesome trailer-like rolling hospital it's going to be all over East Winston, trying to provide better health care for the people over there. And I'm over there in the Y. Tomorrow I'm going out to watch a tiny Indians practice football. You know, maybe I can tell that little kid just one little thing that might inspire him to be better. First thing I'm gonna tell him, that you better get your schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you better find a way to be the best student in class. Now, we're gonna look at you if you're the best student in class. So that's the first thing you got. So that's the first message I have about trying to be the best you can be academically. So I mean, every day I'm doing something to help somebody. You'd be surprised at all the different ways and all the different things that I do in this community to help folk. And I'm real proud of that. In my church, I'm helping folk. You know, one time I was doing 3 golf tournaments at the same time this year.
Wow.
And all of them were successful because I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm dead to Wake Forest for giveaway items to the golf tour. I'm getting stuff from this group and that group, and you know, and it's all working out. That's who I am. That excites me. Making something out of nothing excites me.
Well, Coach, with your strong success and connection to Wake Forest, with your strong connection and success at Winston-Salem State, and being a part of the Winston community now for most of your life, do you see yourself as a connector that can bring people together, different people, different parts of the town, different ideas, and bring everybody together? Do you feel like you kind of like that catalyst?
I do it every day. I do it every day. I'm out in the community. I'm sitting around talking to people, black and white, old and young. And it's amazing what happens when people get to know who you are. When all of a sudden people get colorblind when they see your spirit. They're real colorblind when they see really who you are inside. So I'm out every day doing things to help this entire community. I work with the mayor on a lot of little projects. The city manager is a great guy. The people in the athletic department at Winston-Salem State are great. I'm helping them. They always asking me to do this. I'm working with football coaches. My nephew's down at Fayetteville coaching Fayetteville State. I get up in the morning and I'm down there by 7 o'clock in the morning to watch his practice, so I can critique what he's doing. Then I go down to North Carolina Central and watch them, and over to A&T and stick my nose in there, and flip back over to Wake Forest and stick my nose. So I'm everywhere, you know.
And you can do that, and that's the thing. You can do that. That's the legend and the respect that people have in the various programs. Again, I was really impressed with just the way the players at Wake reacted to just your presence and being there and being available. And I could just imagine that being a continuous thing, because you're really just a shining gem in the community that could really help continue to bring people together, which is what you've done your entire life.
Yeah.
So, Coach, yeah. I know you're busy and got a lot going on, but I want to ask you this question. When you look back over your career as a player, as a coach, as an athletic director, what stands out to you the most, and what do you want people, when they think about you, what do you want that legacy to be?
You're a good person. Sometimes misunderstood because I'm so aggressive, but a good guy, a loyal person, and a hard worker. That's what I want to be remembered as. A good man, loyal, hardworking, trustworthy. Because if I tell you I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. And you ain't got to look over your shoulder to check on me, because I'm gonna get it done. And so that's really what I'd like to be remembered for. A good father. you know, when you're coaching, God, it's hard to be a good father.
Yeah.
You know, I got 1,000 sons, and I got kids that I coach. I mean, I get phone calls. I got a phone call from a young lady. Her name is Viretta Van. She was the equipment girl for our trainer back in 1978. She told me the other day, she found out I was getting, the field was being named, and she called me to see when, where, and what time she needed to be here. And she told me she was the first trainer, female trainer assistant in North Carolina college football. I didn't know that. So you just meet all kinds of people doing all kinds of things when you do what I do. And you know, she and her group, I mean, they did everything for. They washed the kids' clothes, and they, you know, did the laundry, and they kept the place clean. And while they did that, did all that academic work too. So, and you know, next week when they unveil that field in my honor, people gonna come. I'm gonna see some kids. I had a guy who was the president of a bank down in Atlanta named Monty Brinkley.
Yeah.
Monty, I hadn't seen Monty in 25 years. Monty called me up. He says, "Coach, do you remember what you told me?" I said, "What did I tell you, Monty?" He said, "You told me that your job as head football coach was to use him." He said, "You told me you were going to use me for 4 years, and you were going to get everything out of me that you could as you used me. But then you flipped it and said, now you stupid if you don't use me, money, because I got scholarship money. And if you don't use me to get the best education that you possibly can get, then you're stupid. If I use you to be a great football player, and you use me to be a great student, then an even swap ain't no swindle. Neither one of us took advantage of the other." And Monty said that stuck with him. He said he never forgot that. He said every time he thought about cutting the class, he thought about, you know what, Coach gave me this scholarship, and if I don't use it and be the best that I can be, I'm the one that's stupid. And man, I'm so proud of guys like that. I got a ton of them out there too.
Yeah, you do. You really do. And even people like myself that while I didn't play for you, you've had an impact just being able to watch you from a distance and then have an opportunity to meet you and get to know you. And again, it's just, I feel like it's a blessing, the chance to have gotten to know you as well as play for Coach Caldwell. I mean, I think I couldn't ask for much better than that. Well, Coach, one last question. With everything that you have going on, with so many experiences that you've had as a coach and as a leader, what message would you give to a young student athlete that's in high school right now, or a student athlete in college? What encouraging message would you give to them right now?
You know, people only use about half of their ability. So the sky's the limit. You know, you can be whatever it is you want to be, but you got to dream about it. You know, you got to dream about, you got to see yourself up on that pedestal. You got to dream, and you got to dream big, and you got to be willing to go the extra mile. You got to fight for it. And usually when you think you can't fight no more, you just getting started. You know, so when you think you can't fight no more, man, you just getting started. And, you know, this battle just started. And so you just got to try to be the best you can be in the classroom first. In elementary, junior high, high school, and in college, you got to excel academically. And then you got to be first out on that field. You know, you always got to be first out on that field. You got to be first at practice. You know, when coach blow that whistle, you got to be first in line. You got to dive on that fumble first. You know, you got to make the first play. I mean, there is nothing better than to be just a little bit above average, and given so much, you end up being the best. And you could be the best, but you can't sell yourself short. You got to go hard. And that's what I've always told myself first. And that's what I try to influence all the guys and all the people that I touch. I never forget one time we were coaching and Big House called me and he said, boy, you should call me boy. He said, boy, I don't know what we're going to do. I said, what do you mean, coach? He said, the coach is upset with you. He said, your coaching staff. I said, why, coach? He said, well, hell, you don't let them go home at 11, 12, or 1 o'clock in the morning. He said, that wires are teed off at you. He said, but they wouldn't tell me. We were just trying to be the best. We were trying to get all those statistics. And, back then, now they got computers, you can punch some buttons and you can get the data, right? Mm-hmm. Back then we had cards. We'd have 500 little cards, 3x3 cards, and each play, first and 10, second and long, second and medium, second and short, first quarter, second quarter, right hash, left. We had them all in little piles all over the floor. And so we got to figure out what you're going to do on the minus 10-yard line on the right hash. And the score is 0-0. What is this guy going to do? Well, we got it right there in those cards. That was our computer, but we had to do it by hand then. So I got all the first and 10 plays for the last 5 years on this guy.
Wow.
You got all the second and long plays on this guy for the last 5 years. So once we get the data, it takes us Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to put all these cards in the right pile. And once we do that, we got all the statistics on this guy. And what he's going, 3rd and 8, we know what he's going to do. If we do this right, we got him figured out. For the last, he not going, men are very predictable. Men don't change. Once you get his pattern and you figure it out, you got him dead to right. Now you got to have the right players and put them in the right spot. And so, but it takes back then it took forever to get all the statistics right. So we started after dinner at 6:30 or 7 o'clock, and it might be 11, 12, 1 o'clock before we get all those cards lined up right. But we can't go home till we get it right, right?
Right.
Now the guy's got a computer. Mm-hmm. And what it took us 5-6 hours to do, he can do in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. But guess what? We had to do what we had to do.
Yep.
To win the championship.
Coach, I appreciate it. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your experience with us and share your story and your life journey.
Thank God for Wake Forest. Thank God for Chuck Mills and Gene Hooks and all the people at Wake Forest that embraced me during the time. And, I didn't know Coach knew me till I came over in that field, but I was really proud that he knew me and what I tried to do. I was pleased.
Thank you, Coach.